Hello and welcome back. If this is your first time here, I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education, and in this video we are talking Nvidia, and I want to give some updates to what I said about it and also some commentary about the company itself leading up to their earnings, which are August the 23rd in the after hours. I think there's some important things that we need to know, and I would like to go over some of that in this video. So I wanted to ask you guys, do you happen to know what time my dentist appointment is? It's at 2:30. Well, if the hilarious jokes aren't enough to keep you coming back to YouTube to watch more of my videos, maybe this talk about Nvidia will keep bringing you back. So I will be telling you about Nvidia in this video. I will also be telling you how to get to 16 free stocks using my link down in the description. Over at the Patreon, which that link is also down in the description, I have my Nvidia stock price prediction and my Nvidia earnings forecast available. I put it up there on July the 25th. I will be doing the update on that later this week. And I will tell you, Nvidia had just an incredible day today, watching it go up over 6%. I said leading up to earnings that we could see possibly bottoming out around 400. We'll take a look at the chart and see how that did. And I said that we could see a run up to $500. We will see how that does. I said if we don't reach $500 prior to earnings, I think that we will pop it to about $500 following earnings. So either way, no matter how you wrap it up, I expect earnings to be something very positive and to be a lot of upward pressure on the stock. Now, market bias is always something, and over at the Patreon where I did my video, and I even talked about it here on YouTube, that market bias will affect the multiples that stocks trade at. So that's something that I addressed along with that Nvidia stock price prediction that goes along following the quarter that we have, and also looking forward through the rest of 2023. And I plan to build that workout more over time and keep on sharing it over at the Patreon. Now, I will say for Nvidia, we have a lot of talk about uncertain economic times coming up. However, Nvidia, I think, is one that's going to persevere through it, at least in its data center, probably not in its consumer gaming, but I would say where we find data center involvement, because the companies can't afford not to invest in AI, the generative AI. We have enough of a movement going, enough momentum that companies either they need to keep on innovating or they die. Innovate or die is what it comes down to. So Nvidia being sort of at the crux of that, in the middle of that, who says that they can build out their data centers with their GPUs in weeks, not years. Like that right there, when Jensen Huang calls that an inflection point, not only in performance, but in cost and power consumption. And you should just see what different creators, if you haven't looked around, when different creators are putting out with the generative AI through like Adobe products, for example, and Photoshop. Like, it is just so cool what they're able to do. And also the rendering in real time, like art aside, just the data crunching itself and just looking at how that all takes place. For me, I'm a math guy, so looking at the numbers as they are, the matrices as they're arranged, and how exactly it all works, like, to me, that stuff is really cool and way too nerdy to put on here, but I digress. So for Nvidia, I don't think the recession is something that's going to touch them very hard where the data centers are concerned. I don't think that the companies can shrink back from their investment in AI. I think they're going to have to keep on paying for whatever software services. Maybe it's through Nvidia. The world's largest companies, we have Meta, Google's out there, Amazon Web Services. Like, there's just so many companies, and like, you can go onto Nvidia's investor relations and check out who all invests in them, and you go and find that it's like everybody, all the big names are with them, and they don't have anywhere else to go. And also they can't afford not to invest, because then, like I said, innovate or die, they get left behind. So a lot of reason that I think for Nvidia that we don't get a one-off coming up from this quarter, but we do keep on seeing strong investment into Nvidia hardware and software services and the data center build out over time. So let me bring up this article that I have, not Moo, we'll get to that later. So this article that I have here, Nvidia surges, Morgan Stanley affirms chipmaker top pick ahead of Q2 earnings, and I believe that they put out the price tag, Joseph Moore this is, put out the price tag of $500, and well, I can tell you, I did the work and I know exactly how I feel about it. I think that he could be onto something. Here it says overweight rating, $500 price target on the stock, fairly exceptional, supply-demand imbalance in the artificial intelligence chip sector. Basically, the demand is strong and the supply, well, who does it come from? It comes from, well, Nvidia. They don't have a better alternative to turn to. So if it's a company looking for the best and the biggest advantage, Nvidia's where it's got to be at. So they kind of stand alone in a class of their own. And so that's kind of what makes me, I'm also a tech nerd, so numbers nerd, tech nerd, and love talking about stocks and finance. So through all that different nerdiness, that's why my emoji is a nerd when I talk with Stockmo, Stocks with Josh, and they have their own emojis that go along with it as well. I use the nerd because I'm nerdy about so many things. So numbers, technology, finance, you name it, just like to learn everything. And I'll tell you what, NVIDIA being at the center of that, I mean, to me, it's stock price aside, it's still kind of cool to watch all of it happen and to just think about what it'd be like to get my hands on some of this hardware and just see what exactly it can do. I feel like I'm going to have to start reaching out to some different companies that are working with NVIDIA products just to see exactly what it's like, and maybe I can get my foot in the door somewhere and take a tour, or at least do an interview or something like that. I think that'd be really incredible. All right, let's move along from there. Let's go over to the charts because I know that's what we're excited to see. So NVIDIA, bullish channel, and I talked about that a long time ago. I don't think I've moved these lines at all since I started talking about the bullish channel, and I said we could either fall through the bottom or we could retest the top. Well, we fell through the bottom of this thing. We fell through the 50-day, moved right along with the market, and then today that $500 price target got announced. And also don't forget about consumer inflation expectations. That's for another video, but I will tell you that that was definitely a help. A little bit more upward pressure from the markets on this one. The NASDAQ right now, as I talk about this, 1%, it actually closed above 1% today. So lots of awesome momentum. We did close up above the 50-day. Excellent. That means resistance broken. It would be nice to see the full body of a candle up above the 50-day as well to continue moving in a bullish direction for NVIDIA. And the volume today was excellent. 67 million. What we had before, 53 million, 58, 35, 32. So we actually had low volume movement as we descended downward, and then had a nice exciting day today as we buy into those earnings. And it is quite possible that we hit that $500 mark and we sell off. I did say that 440 is about where we could settle in the meantime. We closed at 437.53, so pretty darn close to that. I said a run down to 400. We made it down to about 403. I'll call that a win. Should we hit the 500? I'll call that another win. Whether it's before earnings or after, I think right around earnings is where we see that $500 mark. If we do run up to 500 ahead of time, we could possibly sell into earnings. If we see it afterwards, then I think we see a little bit more euphoria before things settle down again for NVIDIA. Like I said, my stock price prediction that I put out there for NVIDIA that's available through the Patreon, I was very excited when I put it out, and just very, very blessed to be able to offer such services to my Patreon members, and also to be able to talk with them about it in Discord, and then they can also comment on the videos directly on Patreon themselves. So if you guys are interested in that, and also I put my Tesla stock price prediction over there as well. I'll have that coming up for Q3 as it draws a little bit closer. I also want to put out a Tesla video out there because they have more price cuts in China, and I think that's worth some further commentary for that as well. So about those free stocks from Moomoo, I do my charting in Moomoo itself. All you got to do is use the link down in the description with my link. There you can see Dr. Stocks, 16 free stocks. All you got to do, you get stocks valued up to $2,000 in this. Deposit $100 or more, get 5 free stocks. $50 cash reward, which exists at every deposit tier. $1,000 or $5,000 gives you 15 free stocks. The $5,000 tier also includes a free share of Tesla or Google. Just another wonderful opportunity and a way that I continue to push value through this channel that I have here. If you want access to further value, check out the link for the Patreon down in the description as well. Come on over, check out that NVIDIA stock price prediction and NVIDIA earnings forecast. Talk with it about NVIDIA and other companies, whatever it is, finance that you're interested in, over in the private Discord that's over there as well, and be a member of the community. We'd absolutely love to have you over there. Thank you guys for watching. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning, and we'll see you in the next video.